Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is just such a privilege to invite Jerry Silverman, our beloved member, who is going to introduce Ambassador Oren. And Jerry and Ambassador, we're both so grateful to you for making this moment happen. And Ambassador, you could speak from there or here, whichever you prefer. There. Okay, so Jerry.
Shabbat Shalom, rabbis and chazan. It's good to be back here at Temple Emmanuel. To the Bat Mitzvah family, to the Grossmans, Mazel Tov, you all must be shopping nachas. Madeline, I can just say, you're a rock star, absolute rock star, unbelievable. So I'm here to introduce a friend. Many titles of this friend. Ambassador, Dr. Major Michael Oren. He's a statesman. He's a historian. He was a soldier and still is a soldier of the Jewish people. He's an author. Most importantly, he'll tell you that he's a father and a grandfather and expecting a new one, B'Shat Tova, in the fall. In 2009, or even before that, Michael grew up, he was born in New York, but he actually grew up in Jersey, about 15 minutes from Newark Airport. Family didn't have enough money to send him to Jewish camp, which you get the benefit of going to great Camp Eisner. So he went to YMCA camp, where every Sunday he went to church services. And he evolved and he developed a curiosity for learning, for education, and a love of Israel, where he went to Israel and he served in the IDF, in the paratroopers. And he evolved as a statesman, as a professor, and in 2009, he was appointed as the ambassador for the state of Israel to the United States. And he dealt with some unbelievable issues. Ones you may understand and remember. The introduction of a new missile system in Israel called Iron Dome. He was very involved in that. He was also very involved in the Iran nuclear deal with Israel. And so his unbelievable openness and his lens of looking at the world from a wide lens perspective is really, really critical. When he was in Washington, he literally wanted to make sure that he was visible and connected to all communities. Whether it was the Jewish community across the nation, visiting communities all over the United States, whether it was going to churches on Sunday to be visible and connect, as well as he initiated the first iftar dinner ending Ramadan at the Israel Embassy, inviting all Muslim leaders to join him in that celebration. When Michael was the ambassador, he and I developed a wonderful, close relationship. A relationship based on realism, based on him educating me trying to help connect him more to where the Jewish community was at, across the Jewish community. And every Friday, I always remember either having the opportunity to call or there would be a message from Michael where we talked and would say Shabbat Shalom together. It was so, so special. It's my privilege to introduce to you Ambassador Dr. Michael Oren, and I just feel so privileged that he's here today speaking to Temple Emmanuel. Hi.
Jerry, Mori Urabi, my teacher, my rabbis, everyone. Shalom. Maddie. Oh my God. Wow. I'll quote an eminent source, Rabbi Michelle. Wow. I'm not a prophet, but I make a prediction right here. Someday, you are going to be a great leader of your community and of your people. Mazal tov. Nachas. Serious nachas. What a beautiful Shabbat. What a beautiful community. What a delight to be here. It is so difficult on this day, in this community, with this simcha, to think about this week. To think about this day. They tell me that today is May 18th. Is that right? In Israel, it's not May 18th. In Israel, it's still October 7th. We have not gone a second beyond October 7th. And it's not only that October 7th was a day in which 1,200 of our countrymen and women and children were massacred, raped, immolated, beheaded, eviscerated, over 250 taken into unspeakable captivity in Hamas. It's not only that. It's because Hamas hit us between the eyes. And I'm not talking about these eyes, I'm talking about the I, the pronoun, the identity. Well, you all know that Israel is the Jewish and democratic state. You know how much difficulty we have sometimes reconciling those two identities? But we have other two identities. We have identities that are defense identities. Israel was created on May 14th, 1948, 76 years ago. And May 14th was exactly 3 years, almost to the date, after the end of the Holocaust. The Holocaust ended on May 8th, 1945, the E-Day. And that state came into being with a promise, a covenant. And that covenant said, what happened 3 years ago is never going to happen again. This state is coming to being to defend the land and the people of Israel. On October 7th, that covenant was broken. We could not defend our land, and we could not defend our people. The other I says the following, that in the course of defending our land and people, our loved ones are taken prisoner by the enemy, then we will live up to that Jewish dictum of redeeming captives. Pidyon Shvuim. It's a hallowed concept in the Torah, and we will do everything in our power to redeem those captives. And Hamas hit us between the eye. Because we had to make a choice, either between destroying Hamas and restoring our deterrence and restoring the protection that Israel promises to its people, and redeeming the captives. I had this conversation going on in my own family. My daughter, a combat veteran of the Golani Brigade, said to me, Abba, I don't care who wins the war. As far as I'm concerned, we lost the war on October 7th. Israel has one duty and one duty only, and that's to get those hostages released, because if it doesn't, I will not be able to send my children to the army. Whereupon her brother, another combat veteran wounded in battle against Hamas, said to her, if we don't destroy Hamas, you won't have an army to send your kids to. And they're both right. That argument goes inside of us, every single one of us. And so we try to do both. We try to destroy Hamas, and we try to redeem the hostages. And this week, as was mentioned, we had Israel Memorial Day. Now, every year, Israel Memorial Day is a day of profound sadness. We remember the tens of thousands of Jews and non-Jews who have given their lives for our country so that we can be a free people in our country, as we sing in Hatikva. Thousands and thousands. But this year, the pain was unbearable. Every year, I attended a memorial service at a military cemetery. Together with a family I've grown very close to over the years, the family of Adas Malka. She was a 25-year-old policewoman who was murdered outside the Damascus gate in 2017 while breaking up a terrorist operation that was designed to kill hundreds of people. With her own body, she stopped those terrorists and paid for it with her life. Every year, I joined with the Malka family outside her grave. But this year was beyond bearable. For 2 rows in front of her graves and 2 rows in back of her graves were freshly dug graves of soldiers who had fallen since and on October 7th. In front of us, the grave of a member of Israel's most elite fighting unit, Seret Matkal, our Delta Force. I saw the members of his unit there. Next to him, a 19-year-old policewoman who, like Hadass Malka, picked up a rifle on October 7th, charged terrorists, and saved an entire moshav and paid for it with her life. Behind us, the grave of an immigrant from Russia, killed in a tank on October 7th. Here we had a microcosm of the sacrifice and the horrors of this war, standing shoulder to shoulder, you couldn't move, and everybody wailing, all of Am Yisrael wailing. How do you celebrate? How do you find hope and light in this situation where, in spite of the efforts of our army to reduce civilian casualties in Gaza, and I'm convinced that these efforts are truly historic, the world accuses us of genocide. And I would say that every single Palestinian civilian casualty is a tragedy, is one too many. But our soldiers make tremendous sacrifices to reduce those casualties, but the world accuses us of genocide. We are isolated in the world, we are condemned in the world, and in this country and in many countries, our people are facing wave after wave of anti-Semitism in the media, on campuses, in so many aspects, anti-Semitism. It is very difficult to be in this moment in Israeli and Jewish history and to find hope. And yet it would be the profoundest mistake to abandon hope. Abandon hope. You know, I have two caps. I have been involved in Israeli public affairs for many years, but I'm also a historian by training, and it really helps to have historical perspective here. I remember 1973, the Yom Kippur War. And with 3 weeks, we lost significantly more people than we have lost in the 7.5 months of this war. The economy was wrecked, and Israel bounded back. Israel bounded back. I remember the Second Intifada, not such ancient history, 2000 to 2005, 1,000 Israelis killed by suicide bombers. Nobody went to a restaurant. Nobody went to a movie theater. We didn't budge. We thought the country was dead. And look, we bounded back. We came back. We came back in the most desperate moment, perhaps in all Jewish history, on May 14th, 1948, 3 years to the date after 1 out of every 3 Jews was killed in the Holocaust. What a moment of resilience. What an act of faith, of truly ironclad optimism. There's nothing like it in human history. On October 7th, not only did Hamas hit us between the eyes, but Hamas also reminded us of who we are. We are a people. We are a nation. We are the state of Israel. On October 8th, 80% of the people of Israel rose up and volunteered. They went to pick crops. They went to bring food to the displaced and offered housing to the displaced, to cook food for the soldiers. 80% of Israelis. 260,000 young people, men and women, left their homes, left their jobs, left their families to pick up a weapon and to go out and fight for their country as reservists. 260,000 Israelis is the equivalent of 20 million Americans, proportionally. That's more Americans than fought in all World War II. Where on earth are you going to find something like that? Where on earth? What an act of resilience. What a display of hope. I'm here in the United States as an ambassador for an extraordinary organization called the United Hatzalah. United Hatzalah is the largest emergency medical service volunteer program on the entire planet. Amazing organization. 7,600 volunteer medics who carry a little beeper, and 24/7 during the week. You get a call at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning on a Shabbat. They will go out on an ambucycle. That's an ambulance that's on a motorcycle, and go out and be able to reach people who have suffered wounds, have suffered heart attacks, any type of illness, car accidents, and be there within 90 seconds. And they save hundreds, thousands of lives. On October 7th, United Hatzalah was there. They rushed to that scene. 2 of our paramedics were killed. 2 were taken hostage. The 2 taken hostage were both Arabs. Arabs, because United Hatzalah is Arabs, it's Muslims, it's Christians and Jews together, crossing every possible line in the Middle East, which you think is impossible, to save human lives. Tell me about hope. Therein lies that hope. I want to conclude with a very short story. It has actually not directly related to Israel. Of all places, it has to do with Sicily. Sicily. You know, Sicily is a country, I grew up in a Sicilian neighborhood. I actually have strangely Sicilian members of my family. They converted. So I went to visit Mishpocha in Sicily. And it's amazing. If you're a historian, you got to love Sicily. You got to love Sicily. It's ruins. It's Greek ruins. It's Roman ruins. It's Ottoman ruins. It's Norman ruins. Ruins, great ruins. The most impressive thing I saw in Sicily was 12 yards underground in Palermo. 12 miles underground. You go down these little steps into the dark, and at the bottom, there are 3 mikveh baths, the oldest mikveh baths in Europe. And they're still running water, sweet, cold, running water. And you come up those 12 dark steps, and you look into the light of Palermo, and they're the Greeks, they're the Romans, they're the Ottomans, they're the Normans. And where are they? They're gone. We're still here. Our waters are still running. For 50 years that I've lived in Israel, 50 years, I've seen this country emerge from crisis after crisis. A country that was a poor agricultural country when I went there. Our largest export item was orange juice. We had no relations with China, no relations with India, no relations with Africa, no peace with Egypt, no peace with Jordan, no peace with the Abraham Accord countries. And look at us today. Even at this dark moment, look at us today. A country that has never known a second of non-democratic governance, and we're one of the few countries in the world like that. All right? And we're the only country on that list that's never known a moment of peace. An army, a country with an army that's more than twice as large as the British and French armies combined. A Jewish state that has more Nobel Prize winners than it has Olympic gold medal winners. And only a Jewish state would be proud of that. Imagine the guy who comes home, Mom, I got a gold medal. Yeah, so no, where's your Nobel Prize? Big deal. We are the world's most resilient people. There's a reason we're sitting in this show today after 4,000 years. Because we are strong, because we are indomitable, because we cannot be defeated. And at the moments of the greatest darkness, we never stop celebrating. Never stop celebrating this wonderful bat mitzvah, being together in this community. We never stop celebrating. It is an extraordinary moment. It's a great challenge, but we will see through it. We will survive. Those waters will keep running. We will thrive together. Israel Chai.
Ambassador Oren, thank you so much.